Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today we're going to be taking a look at 3 arcade stands for the Nintendo Switch. Now this is just an alternative way to play it in tabletop mode. So normally with the Switch we have the little kickstand at the back and we just detach the Joy-Cons and then we can play it in tabletop mode. The problem is when the battery starts to get low we can't plug it in and charge it up because the port's at the bottom. So if you want to play it in tabletop mode and charge it at the same time, you're going to have to use a stand where you can plug the charging cable into the bottom. Now another way of doing this is to use one of these arcade stands, and then it's kind of retro. It feels like you've got your own little arcade machine on your table. So we're going to be taking a look at 3 of them here. We've got this one here which we're going to slot together using little rubber bands. We've got this cardboard one, and then we've got this wooden one which looks like a kind of 3D toy puzzle that you get. You know, like you can get those owls or Tower Bridge, etc. So that's going to be fun to make that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to time myself, see how long each one takes. I'm not in a rush, I'm just going to be doing this in a relaxed way, but it'd be interesting to see how long. I presume this is going to be the quickest, followed by this one, and then this one will probably take quite some time. But I'll time it and then you'll get an idea of how long it's going to take to set up yourself, and then we'll take a look at them at the end. Now I'm going to be fast forwarding it through all the builds so you see it getting made really quickly and then the finished product. Right, let's get started. Right, okay, so the first one is done. We'll have a good look at it at the end. That basically took 2 minutes and 47 seconds. So it didn't take very long at all. Quite therapeutic to build, nice and easy. And it went together really well. Feels pretty solid when it's all together. Right, let's move on to the cardboard one. Okay, so that one's finished now. There was a few mistakes along the way there, so that took me a lot longer than expected. That actually took me 6 minutes 58 seconds. But again, quite nice to build, not overly stressful or anything, and quite nice that the way it slots together. Looks like it's fairly well made. Okay, let's move on to the wooden one. I'm just going to have to stop the timer just for a minute just to show you how nice these are popping out. Now I got some of these before from Hobbycraft. I think it was Tower Bridge and also I think it was a house or something like that for my children. And basically every time I popped something out I then had to get a screwdriver and force it out, and I had to try to clean up the edges. But look how nice this is all just popping out. This is really well cut. Look at that. Now what I'm going to do is, check it out, it's just falling out. This is exactly how it should be. Let me just show you the difference between this and the actual toy that I got before. Right, so this was part of a wooden bridge, and if you look at it here you can see that every single hole that's been taken out has just got shreds of horrible wood on it, and it's not nice. There you go, look, there you go. See? It's not nice at all, but this one, I'm really impressed so far. Right, okay, so I finally finished that one. That one did take quite a bit of time. I don't know how it's going to perform yet. I'm going to do a test on them all now, see what they're like. But it was okay to put together. Not quite as therapeutic as the other two. It took a long time, that one, 14 minutes, 25 seconds. Mainly because the instructions are not very clear at all. But then again, that's half the fun, isn't it? Trying to work things out yourself. Okay, so they're all made now, and I've been playing with them for the last few hours, so let's talk about each one. Right, now the price of them, I got this black one over here on the left-hand side nearly a year ago now, so I paid $19.99 for it. I've just checked on Amazon, and you can now get it for $10.99, so not bad. The cardboard one in the middle was surprisingly expensive for me. I got these all from Amazon Prime, so next day delivery, and it was $11.99. But I've checked on eBay, and if you're willing to get it from China, you can get it for as cheap as £5.65. Obviously, this is all UK pounds. And then the wooden stand on the right-hand side is surprisingly good value. You would think that would be the most expensive, but it's not. It's the cheapest. It's $9.99. Again, with Prime next day delivery. Right, okay, so let's start with this black stand over here. So here we have the black one here, and it's got a lovely finish to it. It looks really well made, and it's nice and sturdy. Now when we put the switch in, we have plenty of room here to drop it in, so we just drop it in there like so, and just make sure when you go in that it slots down to the very bottom, and then when it's in, you can see that it is actually in place very well. There you go, you know that that's not going to fall out unless you were to turn the thing upside down. But be careful when you put it in there, because it has to drop into that little slot at the bottom. Otherwise, what would happen is if you did it quickly, you could drop it in there and it could just slide along there and just come straight out. So when you're putting it in, make sure that you do put it in towards the back so it drops into the slot. Once it's in there, you do feel quite confident that that's not going to go anywhere and you're not going to damage anything. If you have a look at the back here, we've got plenty of empty space. We've got airflow here, and we have access to everything at the top here. Volume, power, game cartridge is all easily accessible, and the air's got plenty of room to move in and out again. When it comes to charging it, it's not a problem because we've got so much room to get to it. Nice and simple, just lean it forward supporting the switch and then just plug it in, and now that will be charging up. Right, okay, now bad point is that there's nowhere to put your Joy-Con, so it would be lovely if there was a little cutout that you could just pop these in there like so. As it stands, you have to have it here like this and just play it the same way as you would play with the Switch normally in tabletop mode. But if you actually look at it, this one does look amazing because you've got the black bezel here, matches in with the black arcade stand, and it really does look like a little mini arcade. So the look of this one here I think is absolutely lovely. It's let down a little bit with the rubber bands, but the good thing about the rubber bands is it makes it very easy to put together, and also you can take it apart again if you really wanted to. Obviously these rubber bands are not going to last for 20 years, but hopefully you should last a few years, and when they start to crack and perish, you will be able to just buy yourself more rubber bands again. Right, okay, so that one there to me looks absolutely amazing. I do love this one, and you can decorate it with stickers and stuff. If you have a look on places like eBay, you can actually get ones that are printed with, like, you know, Mario Kart and stuff like that, and Splatoon, so they do look pretty good. Right, okay, let me just show you a little bit of gameplay here. Let's go to Blazing Star. So obviously with this one here, because we're not attaching the Joy-Cons to it, it's very easy just to play two-player, just like you would do with the Switch normally. And as you can see, it does look nice up there. Right, okay, let's move on to the cardboard one. Here we have the cardboard one. Obviously it's very lightweight because it is just cardboard, but it still feels kind of solid. It feels, you know, well put together. Now it's got a bit of a gloss finish there, so it does look like a premium product, and we just drop the Switch into there like so, which could be a bit dodgy. It's fine if you're using it like this, it's not going to fall out, but whatever you do, do not transport this, because if you tip that forward, your Switch is just going to fall straight out. So it might have been slightly better if they were to do maybe tiny cutouts here, just to let the Switch drop down into it a little bit more, but if you're playing it like this, it's going to be absolutely fine. Now, the great thing about this one is we've got these little cutouts for the Joy-Cons, and they do fit in there nice and secure. So if I take the Switch out, can you see? that, you know, they really do grip it. But obviously over time they will get looser and looser because the cardboard's going to start to wear a bit, isn't it? But as it stands now, it does work well, and you know, it does look good. Now what I did notice is when you're playing games like side scrollers like Metal Slug 3, this one on the left hand side is fine because normally you move to the side and you're constantly pushing in to the cardboard, so it's fine. But I noticed on this one here when I was playing it, can you see what's going to happen? When you're getting a bit into the game and you start, like, you know, whacking the buttons, mashing the buttons, then you see what's going to happen is bit by bit that's going to fall out, so that's going to become a bit irritating. Also, a major problem with it is that, let's say when you're doing the Neo Geo games, because let's face it, little arcade game like this, little arcade machine, you're going to want to do Neo Geo games. A lot of the times you need to be pressing the SL and SR. So for example, SL, you know, maybe to put up your credits, and then SL to start the game. So it's annoying. Every time you die, you've only got 10 seconds, and then you have to kind of pull it out to try to press the SR, which is a bit of a pain. Obviously you can load up the credits beforehand, but you still have to take it out to press that SR. So when you've only got 10 seconds in the game, that's not great. And also, the more you take these in and out, especially when you're trying to do it quick, you're going to lead to wear on here. So that's a bit of a problem. But what you could do is, I was thinking you could just easily modify it. You could use little matchsticks or something. Let me just take that out in case it falls out. And then what you could do is, where the SL and SR is, you could make a little cutout here and have these in there, and then when you're playing your game you could just lever that to do the, you know, when you go to start, because the buttons are not normally used in the actual gameplay. So when it comes to like start, when you die, you could just tap that back. So there is ways out of it that you could modify this, but it's not ideal. That is one of the downsides of it when you're playing the Neo Geo games. Apart from that, I'm surprised by this. It does actually work well, and it grips them a lot better than I thought. If you were really into this, you could put a little bit of Velcro in there and make them stick in properly. The problem is, though, that you don't really want Velcro on this when you've got it on your actual Switch, which you're going to have it on your Switch most of the time. Right, let me just show you a little bit of a Metal Slug. But it's lovely that you can do 2 players on this, and I think it's great how they've done it. I just wish that there was some little thing here that you could do the SL and SR buttons. Obviously, this is irrelevant because you can't fit this in there. This is made just for the Joy-Cons itself. Right, if you have a look here, obviously that works absolutely fine. But you just got to be careful on the second player, because that's the one where the Joy-Con's going to keep falling out. So you can see it's moving out already. But a nice way to play 2 players with other family members or your friends or stuff like that. It feels nice because it's just feels much more like an arcade. So I think if you like the Neo Geo games, I think something like this is well worth the money. Now the charging's a little bit annoying on this one, so what we have to do is, there's a little hole at the back here, so we have to feed the charging cable through there, and you have to grab it up here, and then you have to pop it into your Switch and then drop it back into here like so. So it's not exactly hard work, but it's not quite as accessible as the black stand. Right, now let me show you the wooden one. So here we have the wooden arcade stand, and for £10 it does seem like value for money, because a lot of making went into it and it looks like it's well made. So you know, money wise it seems to be good value. Now looks wise, obviously it's subjective. To me, I don't think it looks as good as the black stands. Obviously if you were to paint it or spray it, it's going to look better, or you could get your kids to just colour it in. That's going to be half the fun. If they want to graffiti it and tag it and stuff, then they can do that, because it's going to look better than just wood. But even if you were to spray that black, in my opinion, the thing that lets it down is that when you put the screen in it, it's just out in the open. It still looks like the Nintendo Switch, you see? When you put it in this one here, you can see the Switch kind of becomes part of the actual cabinet, and then it looks like a screen built into the cabinet. While with this one, it still just looks like the Switch, but just in a little holdall. So it looks nice, but it could look better. Now, good thing about it is you have this little screen angle adjustment here, which is nice, so you can get your viewing angle as you want. It won't fall forward because you have these little tabs in that stop it from falling too far forward. This one's already dropped out on me quite a few times, so that's going to need a spot of glue. But is it secure? Well, if you just have it like that, there's no danger of the switch falling out, and you can move it around and it's not going to go anywhere. Don't walk around with it because this screen is not secured in here, and what will happen is when you walk around, you can see there it would just drop straight out. Also, even when you're moving it around to get to the back of it, if you want to plug it in, still take the screen out, because I've had it drop on me twice just by moving it around the place. I think what happens is it goes to there. I don't want to do it again, but then when you're moving it around, it's just going to drop straight out. So it's fine if you use it just like this. It's not going to go anywhere, but don't obviously walk around with it. Now, it would be nice if you could fit 2 Joy-Cons on here, like the cardboard one, but you can't. You can only fit 1. But the good thing is we have full access to our SL and SR buttons because there's a cutout at the top here. So if you have a look in there, you can see that I've got access to the top. You're going to be a little bit restricted with your fingers depending on how big they are and depending on the angle of the screen, because if you had it like that, you can see I can't really get to it. But if it's like that, I can get to it, and also if it's all the way up there, I can just about get to it. So if you play it like that, which most people will, then it's absolutely fine to play with the SL and SR buttons. The little grip here doesn't fit on, the strap doesn't fit onto the top here because the cutout is just for the Joy-Con. Also, the good thing is because it slots into place, you're not going to have the problem like you do on the cardboard one where when you go left or right, it's going to fall out. You could button mash this all day long and it's not going to go anywhere because it's sat in to the actual holder itself. When it comes to the second Joy-Con here, you have got a little holder here, which is a nice little touch. So you see, I can just rest it there. And then if the second player wants to play, they can just grab it out the back and then play it. Now, what I noticed when I played this earlier, it's a bit of a design fault. Can you see that we've got a cutaway here? And what happens is when you get a bit excited and you start to, play the game and get into it, it keeps wanting to tip. It's just dropped out again. It keeps wanting to tip forward. So you've got to be really careful with that. And obviously, if you were to get overexcited just like there, you could see that there is a chance that the switch would fall out and it could cause damage if it kept happening. But to me, that's a design fault because when you do that, you can already see because of here, and I don't think this is perfectly flat here, it wants to keep going forward like that. So what it needs is just a little sand here to make it completely flat. It's still not going to be perfect because if you put too much weight on it, it is going to fall forward, and that doesn't happen with the cardboard one because there's a bigger surface area. So when you get your Joy-Con and you put it in here like so, then you can see that you can hit that as much as you want and it's not gonna go anywhere. It's not gonna tip out because you've got a bigger area here. This is kind of top heavy and it's wanting already to roll over. With its limitations, it has got some good points. It's also got some bad points as well. But I do like the way that the Joy-Con is fully held in here. So with this one now, we can do other games, like for example Mario Kart 8, because we have access to our shoulder buttons as well. Okay, so as you can see, it does play well, and you will be able to have full gameplay on this. If you were to do it for a long time, you probably would get a bit of finger cramp because it's quite enclosed in here. But it is nice. Right, let me show you it charging. So to charge it up, this one is a little bit of a pain. It's more of a pain than the others. So what we're going to have to do is a few places to get it through. You can place it through here if you haven't got the Joy-Con, or just take your switch out and then just put it through the top here and place it up through this one here. So when it's here, and then you can just drop it into place. Okay, and that's there like that. Now, what I have noticed with this one is they haven't really given much cutout for the airflow at the back. Can you see? You can just about see the part of the vents here, but there's not really much. So it would have been a nice little touch just to machine out another couple of little holes there just to get the air. The chances of it overheating are very, very slim. So there you go, that is my review of these 3 arcade stands for the Nintendo Switch. So you put down in the comments which one you think is the best. Now if you ask me which I think is the best, I can't give you the answer because honestly there's compromises with all of them. There's certain features I love on all of them and there's certain features I hate on each of them as well. If I could click my fingers and make the perfect stand, it would be something like this because it just looks so good, but it would have the Joy-Con holder from here, or possibly even here. I like the fact you can get 2 on here, but I love the fact that this is so secure in there. So what would be ideal is if there was something like this, but for 2 of them on here, even if it meant it overhang the side a bit. I know it won't look as nice, but then it would play nice and it just looks so good. This one here, there's a lot of issues with it, but I love the fact that the Joy-Con sits so firmly in there. That's a really good design, that bit there. And this one, I love the way that you've got 2 Joy-Cons connected in it. So there we go. Remember, these are just my opinions and your opinions will vary from it. Other people will love this one. Some people will like this one. Just because I say something, it doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. It's just my personal opinion on it. You make up your own judgment. Looking at this video, you will be able to decide for yourself which one you like the best. So if you did like it, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more how-to videos. Take care. Bye now.